Everyone is doing well. Today's target is to solve question number 4, and this is another book. The only intention of doing questions and solutions from different books from different authors is so that students can understand a specific topic completely and comprehensively. We have solved these questions from 2 to 3 different books and different authors. And you have seen that overall methodology in general is same. Just the way of describing transactions is different. We can use foreign authors or we can use local authors. The language may be different, way of expressing the transaction can be different, but overall scenario and procedure is same. You can see that we have changed the author, but view is clear that transactions are almost similar, which we were used to see from the book of other authors. Here there are transactions and we are needed to convert these transactions into required our target. All right, so these are the transactions which normally be given by any question or in any book, and we are responsible and we are as an accountant will convert these transactions into usable information. You can see that transactions are given in raw, rough, and simple English language. An organization, when providing information to the accountant, that language would be raw, that language will be rough, that language will be very simple. So in the similar manner, our organization has provided us information of transaction, and this information is just an English language. They want an accountant to convert this simple data or raw data into usable information. How this can be converted? There are 2 steps. First of which is we will generalize them. What word I am using? Generalize. Journal. Journal. We are going to generalize it, and those journal entries would be converted into cash book. Here I am willing to show you our procedure of doing our job. This is half part of the question. You have seen we have divided the scenario into 2 parts. Our solution would be divided into 2 parts. Left side is for journal. We have fixed it. What we will do, we will take information from this question behind, and we will convert that information or information of transaction into journal entries, and then these journal entries will be posted in cash book. Cash book is basically a source where you can combine several ledgers at the same time, but obviously specific names and specific type of ledger can be combined. Under cash book there are maximum 3 ledgers, and the name of ledgers are also fixed: discount, cash, and bank. Discount, cash, and bank. These are 3 ledgers which would be combined in cash book, and you can see there are 2 sides. One side is debit, other side is credit, and on credit side you do have discount, cash, and bank. These are 3 ledgers which we will combine. When every column, that means discount, cash, and bank, every column will be used to create a cash book, then it would be called triple column cash book. Sometime it happens in whole question there is no entry regarding discount. So what you will do, you will fill only 2 columns: cash and bank on debit side, cash and bank on credit side. It means you are using 2 columns. It would be called double column cash book. And sometimes you will see no banking transaction is present in your account, so no amount would be put or posted on debit side of bank, no amount would be posted on credit side, with which you will be using only one column, and that is cash column. So it would be called single column cash book. And there is second option, no entry regarding discount or cash is present in question. All entries are associated with bank. There you will fill only bank column debit side and bank column credit side. It would also be called single column cash book. Okay, what steps we have already decided. Here are raw data transaction in simple language. We will pick these transaction and we'll convert into journal over here, and then these journal entries would be posted in cash book. It may be possible all columns will be used, it may be possible one or two column will be used accordingly. That is why we haven't mentioned over here that it's double column, single column or three column cash book. We have made a format where all three columns are available, and we will post entries according to our journal entries, and we will make our journal entries according to our transaction given in the question. All right, hopefully you have understood what our target is for today, and we will start our working from transactions. In first line, normally it is just an introduction of firm, introduction of time, or introduction of our requirement, and we can see it has been said that we are needed to make three column cash book. What does that mean? It means our cash book will contain entries regarding discount, entries regarding cash, entries regarding related to bank as well. It means all three columns will be filled. All right, and now we are going to start our question. We will be starting from first. All these transactions are related with one single month, and that is April. And 1st April is saying what? We will fill the date first. Here is date column of journal. There you will write your date 1. And now come to the point. First entry is saying cash in hand. That means you have cash. Cash is not going out, cash is not coming in. You are not paying this cash to anyone. You are not receiving cash to anyone. Cash in hand is your asset. It is in favorable position. And when cash in hand as an asset is in favorable position, it should be written on debit side. So you will mention cash on debit side. As earlier it has been mentioned that cash is not going out, you are not paying cash, you are not receiving this cash, it is just cash in hand. So what you will do, there is no other reference except to write a word balance over here, which will show that amount is not under any transaction, it is just cash in hand. Now let's see how much amount of cash in hand we do have. It is 4,000, first entry. So you will be needed to write 4,000 on debit side, and same amount you will be writing on credit side. In this way, half entry of first is completed. As I can see, there is something else, and that something is overdraft with the bank. Okay, since first entry is having two different aspects, so what we will do, we will divide it into two parts. First entry we can consider A, and now we'll be doing first entry but B part. All right, B part is saying we have overdrawn balance, overdraft balance, yeah, overdrawn balance at bank. Now for this we will have to understand what is overdraft. At this point, suppose you have your bank account and your bank balance is, let's say, 1000 rupees. What I had said, you have your bank account and you have balance at your bank account which is 1000. Okay, and now you are in need to pay someone through check which an amount which is more than 1000 rupees. You have bank balance of 1000 and you want to issue a check which is having an amount more than 1000. Suppose that amount is 1200. 1100 is also okay, but 1200. So you want to issue a check of rupees 1200 while your bank balance is just 1000 rupees. So what you will do, as you will issue check, the person to whom you will issue check, he will present this check, and he would be willing to withdraw amount from the bank, but bank will dishonor this check. Bank will return this check. Why? Because of insufficient funds present in your bank account. Your amount present in bank was 1000 and you have issued a check of rupees 1200. So what will happen? You will be a sort of financial insult, it should be said. That is why we are using the word dishonor. Against your honor, the check would be dishonored, and the person to whom you have issued this check will be returned without any amount. Here, the relationship of you as a customer and the banker will start. And let's say if you know that amount present in bank account is less than the amount you need, you will ask your bank manager to kindly provide additional amount as well. Check would be written for 1200 while actual amount present in the bank account is just 1000 rupees. You will request your banker to pay 1200 rupees to your customer, and you will say that I will return this amount within shorter period of time. So now you can see that 200 for you is just a loan, but for a very shorter period of time. You have drawn amount from the bank which is over and above of that which actually amount is present in your bank account. What you have done, you have drawn amount more than the amount present in your bank balance, in your bank account. This is called a short term loan, and that short term loan is called overdrawn. When you have balance which is less than the amount which is written on check, so it means minus 200, that means it's your balance which is in negative. You have overdrawn, you have drawn amount more than the amount which was present on your in your bank account. It is called overdrawn, so it would be called overdrawn balance. Now overdrawn balance, what we have said, it's a sort of loan. When we are considering it is a loan, loans are liabilities. Liabilities should be mentioned on credit side, so you will mention your bank account on credit side. Though bank account is your asset should be written on debit side, but what we have said, we have drawn amount more than the amount present in your bank account. It would be considered as a short term loan. Loans are liabilities. Liabilities should be mentioned on credit side, so you will mention name of bank on credit side. But since it has been said it's just a balance, amount right now is not going out, or in particular date, that is one on first of this month, amount was not going out, not you were depositing the amount, it was just the balance which you have, which you had started with the month. And you are going to write the word balance over here just for the reference. Now let's see how much overdrawn balance is, and that is 6000 mentioned over here. So you are going to write 6000 on your debit side, and same amount you are supposed to write on your credit side. In this way you have your first entry completed. Cash in hand, asset, and overdrawn bank balance is liability. Now let's see what is next for us. One is completed, so we are going to do our second entry. What second entry is saying? Paid salaries and wages 1200 and rent by check 400. Okay, there are two parts of this entry again. So what we will do, we can divide it to two parts. First entry we may call it as 2A, and then we will see what second entry is saying. 2A is saying paid salaries and wages. Just focus on half part of this transaction, paid salaries and wages. Since you are paying, it means cash is going out. Cash is going out, due to which your cash in hand would be decreased. Cash in hand is your asset, asset is decreased, decrease in asset should be credited, so you will mention cash on credit side. For what purpose you have paid this cash? As it is mentioned in the question, it is salaries and wages. As you are paying, then it means your salaries and wages are expenses should be mentioned on debit side, so you will mention salaries on debit side. You may write wages as well. Salaries and wages are paid, it's an expense, expenses should be mentioned on debit side, so you have mentioned name of salaries on debit side. Now see how much salaries you have paid, that is 1200, so you will mention 1200 on debit side, and same amount you are going to write on your credit side. All right, this part of the transaction has been completed. Okay, close it. Now we will do 2b entry, which is second part of the question, second part of transaction. 2b is saying that rent is being paid by check. Rent is paid by check. When you will pay your rent by check, it means you will be issuing a check. When you issue the check to the person to whom you are paying the rent, he will go to your bank account, will present that check, and with which he will withdraw amount from your bank account. Amount present in bank account would be decreased. Bank account is your asset. Asset is decreased. Decrease in asset should be credited. So you will mention name of bank on credit side. All right. And then why you have issued this check? You were paying rent. As it's a payment, so rent is an expense. Expenses should be mentioned on debit side. So you will name rent on your debit side. Now let's see what was the amount of rent, and that is 400. So you are going to write 400 on debit side, and same amount you will be posting on credit side. This way 2b is completed. Second entry was having, this is your second entry, and it was having two parts, and both parts you have generalized paid salaries and rent by check. Now you are at entry number 5. What is saying? Cash sales. Cash sales, I asked the same question in the class, though it's funny, and I have asked, what is cash sales? Somebody have said, when you are selling your cash. No, it's not like that. You are selling your goods and receiving cash immediately. It's cash transaction. You are selling your goods and you are receiving cash immediately. When you are selling goods, what will happen? Selling means you are selling your goods, merchandises or commodities. So goods are going out, goods are your near asset, asset is decreasing, decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you were supposed to write goods over here. But in accounting, we do not write goods, we write working in place of goods. What working we are doing? We are selling, so you will mention sales over here. Goods we have written just for the reference to understand what is going out. This was just a reference, you may erase it. So we have sold goods, sale is credit, and next is what? After selling goods, what you have received? Cash. It means your cash in hand is increasing. Increase in cash in hand means increase in asset. Increase in asset should be debited, so you will mention name of cash on debit side. And what was its date? After 2 it was 5, so you will mention 5 over here. Let's see, 5 is completed or something else is also present. Okay, it has been completed. Fifth entry is okay. Now we are on sixth entry, which is saying paid into the bank. Fifth entry we haven't mentioned the amount, and amount is 5,000. So you will be writing 5,000. I have just seen amount was not written over there. 5,000 on debit side, and you will be writing 5,000 on credit side. Now sixth entry is saying that you have paid amount into the bank. Obviously bank is associated directly with the amount, with rupees, though cash is not mentioned over here, but it should be understood that if you are paying something into the bank, that something is cash. Cash is going out from you as you are paying that amount into the bank. It means cash in hand is decreasing, means asset is decreasing. Asset decreased if, that should be mentioned on credit side, so you will mention cash on credit side. Where this cash is going out, you are paying this cash into the bank. Paid cash into the bank means amount present in your bank account would be increased. Bank account is your asset. Asset is increasing. Increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side, so you will mention name of bank on debit side. Sixth entry's amount is 2,000, so you will be writing 2,000 over here, and same amount you are supposed to write on credit side. This way your entry number 6 is completed, and now we are up to entry number 8. Sold investment having face value 2,000 at rupees 4,000 and deposited the amount into the bank. Okay जी, आपको actually what you will have to observe is you have sold your investment. One thing first, so you are losing your investment. Investment is going out where you have sold it. Actual value or face value was 2000, but you have sold that investment in profit, and you have sold for 4000 rupees and deposited the amount into the bank. This is very important factor, deposited the amount into the bank. In this whole transaction, you have sold your investment and received the amount and immediately deposited into the bank. Overall scenario, when you will see what happened at the end, you have deposited amount into the bank. This means amount present in your bank account has been increased. Your bank account is asset is increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side, so you will write bank on debit side. All right, how you have received this amount? You have sold your investment. Investments are your assets. When you will sell your asset would be decreased. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side, so you will mention your asset mean investment on credit side. How much amount you have received? That is 4000. It means there is an increase in bank account by 4000, and same amount you will be posting on your credit side. All right, and you may say if the value of that investment was 2000. There is another way to solve it. You may write investment as 2000 because actual amount was 2000. Though since we are related with bank account, that procedure has been completed. As in cash book, only bank was related, so we have mentioned the accurate amount in front of bank, so there is no need for any extension. But just for an understanding, I would like to explain it. Amount of investment was 2000, while you are getting 4000 out of it. So what 2000 is, you are getting your capital profit. For the time being, just consider it that an asset of value 2000 when sold for 4000, it would be your profit. So you may mention profits are your income should be mentioned on credit side, so you will write profit over here. You may write this transaction like this, or you may write just bank to investment as well. Okay, so in this way your investment is going out for 2000 while you are getting 4000 out of it due to sale. It means 200 you are earning as your profit. Entry number we haven't mentioned. After sixth entry, it was entry number 8. So entry number 8 is completed, where there is an increase in your bank account. After 8 we have 12, and let's see what 12 is saying and what is in 12th entry. Received a check. First part of the transaction is saying receive a check from Kamal on account 290, allowed him discount. Okay, we are just receiving a check. This is very interesting to learn. When you will be receiving a check, normally it would come in your mind that check is associated with bank, but please keep it in mind if you haven't deposited that check into the bank. Now you can see over here you have received allowed discount and bank is not mentioned over here. What does that mean? You haven't deposited that check into the amount, though check is directly associated with the bank. But if you haven't deposited the check into the bank, do not mention name of bank over here. You have just received the check. All right, when you are receiving check, it means check is coming in. Check is your near asset. Asset is increasing. Increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side. So you were supposed to write check over here, but in accounting we do not write checks. We will consider it as cash, but temporarily. Why? Because check has not been deposited into the bank. You cannot write bank over here, you cannot write check over here. So for the time being you are writing check as your cash, while actually it's not cash. From whom you are receiving this check? The person name is Kamal. Kamal is a person who was your account receivable. You have received check from Kamal. Kamal was your account receivable, but yeah, now you have received the amount from him. No matter in shape of cash, no matter in shape of check, you have received amount from your account receivable Kamal. As you will receive the amount, he will not be your account receivable. No more account receivable. he would not be your asset now. No more asset, no more account receivable. Asset is decreasing. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you will mention name of Kamal on credit side as he is your account receivable. There might be a question in your mind, account receivables are an asset and we should write it on debit side. But as I have mentioned that we have received check, he is no more our account receivable, he is no more our asset. Asset is decreased. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you have written account receivable on credit side due to decrease in asset. Let's see how much amount of check that was. You can see that check is of 290 rupees. So what you will do, you will write 290 rupees in front of this, in front of cash. Okay. Now there is another thing mentioned over here is 290 and allowed. Please mark it. We have allowed discount. When we are allowing discount, it means it's an expense for you. You are receiving less amount. Expenses should be mentioned on debit side. So you will mention discount on debit side as it is discount allowed. All right. So you have mentioned discount on debit side, and what was the amount of discount? It is 40. So you will write 40 as discount. Now here you can see that entry is ended, but they haven't told how much amount would be written in front of Kamal. Kamal's amount is not mentioned. Here we will apply a very simple accounting principle. Amounts present on debit side are always equal to the amounts present on credit side. At debit side we have two amounts, 290. You will add second amount 40. It means total amount should be present as 330. So if amount for any transaction is not given, you can calculate by applying a simple rule. Debit and credit side would always be equal. So we have applied in the similar manner. Sum has been written on credit side. Both sides are now equal. It means entry number 12 we have completed. Now let's see what next entry is saying to us. After 12 we have 13. Let's put the date first. 13th entry date is very important because without it, it would be almost impossible to correct your cash book answers. Entry number 13, we are looking at withdraw from bank for office use. This is the entry. Withdraw amount from the bank for office use. When you are going to draw amount from your bank, it means amount present in your bank account would be decreased. Decrease in bank account means decrease in asset. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you are needed to mention bank on credit side due to decrease in your asset. Why you are going to draw your amount from your bank? That is for office use. Here you can see for office use. Since you will be using this amount for office, right now you have just drawn. It means your cash is coming out of bank. Cash in hand is increasing. Increase in cash in hand means increase in asset. Increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side. So you will mention cash on debit side. How much amount of 13th entry? It is 500. So you will be writing 500 on debit side, and same amount you are supposed to write on credit side. Rules for journal entry we are following. 13th entry completed. Let's see what is next for us. This is 15. Let's put the date first. 15th entry, and what 15 is saying, purchase goods for cash. You are buying your goods for cash. When you are buying good, it means goods are coming in. Goods are your near asset. Asset is increasing. Increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side. So you were supposed to write goods over here. But we do not write goods in accounting. We write working in place of goods. What working we are doing? We are purchasing. So you will write name purchase over here. Goods were written just for the reference. It is now unnecessary to be written over here. You can erase it. You have purchased goods. That is why you have mentioned purchase. And how have you purchased it? For cash. You are buying goods. It means cash is going out and cash in hand is decreasing. Decrease in cash in hand means decrease in asset, which should be credited. So you will mention cash over here. Cash is your asset and asset is decreasing. How much? 15th entry's amount, and that is 1000. So put 1000 on debit side of this journal entry and put the same 1000 on credit side as well. All right, 15th entry is completed. What is next for us? That is 17. Let's put the date first. 17 in the date column. 17 is saying issued a bearer check. Issued a bearer check in favor of Amir 1080 in full settlement of rupees 1200. Okay, what is bearer check? Bearer check means there is no name mentioned on the check. Whosoever will have that check can take cash from the bank. It's bearer check, and this check is issued in favor of Amir. Amir is the person to whom amount was payable. So instead of paying him, you have issued a check. So theory you have understood. We have issued a check. When you will issue a check, to whom the person to whom you will issue this check will go to your bank account, will present that check, will withdraw amount from your bank account. Bank account would be decreased. That means amount present in bank account would be decreased. Mean asset is decreased. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you are supposed to write bank on credit side. Though bank is your asset, but you are going to draw amount from your bank. This means your bank account would be decreased, asset decrease, and that is why you have mentioned bank on credit side. How this amount is being drawn from the bank? Because you have issued a bearer check. To whom you have issued this check? The person's name is Amir. Alright, come over here. Amir was the person to whom amount was payable. He was your account payable. Now you have paid, no matter in shape of cash or check, but you have paid. When you have paid to your account payable, it means he is no more your account payable. Account payables are liability, means no more your liability. Liability has been decreased. Decrease in liability should be mentioned on debit side. So you would mention Amir on debit side, in spite of this that he was your account payable. What word I am using? Was. He was your account payable. Now after payment, he is no more your account payable. Liability decrease in liability on debit side. That is why you have written Amir on debit side. But what is another factor in it is in full settlement. This word is very important. In full settlement of rupees 1200. What does that mean? Total amount which was payable to Amir was 1200. So you will write 1200 over here. Okay. But the amount of check issued, this is our entry. Amount of check is what? 1080. So you will write the amount in front of bank. Why? The amount of check is 1080. It means amount drawn from the bank would be 1080. Now here we will apply a simple accounting principle. Debit and credit side should always be equal, but here it's not equal. So there will be a third understanding. Let me know, how is it possible that total amount payable was 1200 and instead of 1200 you have just paid 180. Here you will understand the meaning of full settlement. That means total amount which was required to be settled was 2000, but you are now agreed to decide, you are now agreed that amount would be 1080 instead of 1200. So if you are paying cash 1080 in place of 1200, who will decide it that you can pay less? The person to whom you are paying this amount, the account payable, he is the authority. He will decide that you can pay less. If he is permitting you and you are paying less, that means you are enjoying it, it is your income. And if he is permitting you to pay less, that means he is discounting the amount. This discount is just like your income. Income should be mentioned on credit side. So you will write discount on credit side, as this discount is your discount received. Mention it on credit side, and you are needed to write the word to as well, because there are two amounts on credit side. How much discount and discount is not mentioned. So what you will do, Again, you will apply the simple accounting principle, debit and credit side should be equal. On debit side, it's 1200. On credit side, there is less amount, 1080. How would you know how much amount we should write over here? What you will do, you will subtract credit side from debit side. On debit side, it is 1200. You will subtract amount present on credit side, which is 1080. So here you have come to know that deficient amount was 120 and you will consider it as your discount. In this way, entry number 17 is completed. Now let's see what next entry is available for us. That is entry number 18. Receive a check from Salim in full settlement of rupees 500. Again, you are receiving a check in full settlement and you just prepare your mind what we have done in full settlement of previous entry. Same we will be doing in next entry for full settlement. For the time being, just try to understand what we have done. Primarily, we have received a check from Salim. When you will receive check, again make your mind we haven't deposited into the bank. I'm showing you the transaction again. You have just received the check and please read it again in full settlement and nothing is mentioned else. That means check has not been deposited into the bank. You have just received. When you are receiving check, it means check is coming in. Check is your near asset. Asset is increasing, so you were supposed to write check over here. But as usual, we do not write check in accounting in place of check. You can consider it cash, but temporarily. Why? Check has not been deposited into the bank, so you have just supposed it like a cash, while in actual it's not cash, it's just check. From whom you have received this check? You can see that the check has been received from Salim. Salim is a person, the person from whom amount was receivable, and now you have received that amount. If you have received that amount, it means he is no more. Salim is no more your account receivable. He is no more your asset. Asset is decreased. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you will mention Salim's name on credit side. In spite of this, that he was, what word I am using? He was your account receivable, and account receivables are assets. So why we are mentioning asset on credit side? Because after receiving amount, he is no more our asset, no more our account receivable. Asset decrease, decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. That is why you have written name of Salim, name of account receivable on credit side. Let's check it out, the amount. It is, we haven't mentioned the date again, while we were supposed to write date on first step. 18th is the date. 18 should be written on date column. See what it is in the 18. The amount of check was 480. So what we will do, the amount 480 should be written in front of cash because it's the amount of check. Full settlement, that how much amount was receivable, this is called full settlement. 500 was the amount which was receivable from Salim. So you will write 500 over here. All right. Here you can see that entry has been ended, entry number 18. Nothing else has been mentioned. You can see that nothing is told over there, but we are not satisfied with the entry. Why? Because debit side is not equal to credit side. While what full settlement means, total amount receivable was 500, and while we have received only 480. Who will decide it that amount can be received less than the actual amount? It's now we, the person who is receiving the amount, he is the authority and he will decide. When we will decide that we can receive less amount, it means we are permitting for the less amount. This is our expense. We are receiving less amount than actual. We are losing some amount. It's an expense. Expenses should be mentioned on debit side. Since we are permitting him to pay less, it is his benefit, our expense. This time there is discount, but discount is different. We are permitting, so this would be called discount allowed. Discount allowed is an expense. That is why we have mentioned on debit side. The second factor is amount is not mentioned over here. Here you will apply the simple accounting principle. Credit side should be equal to the debit side. on debit side amount is less. How would we know how much amount is less? What you will do, you will subtract amount of debit from credit side. Amount on credit side is 500. You will subtract amount on debit side, which is 480. Here we have got the amount. I think some here you can see that green is chosen. A wrong cell has been chosen for first amount. First amount was 500. Here is your amount, which is 20. Entry number 18 has been completed. So let's see what is next for us after 18. It's 20. Let's mention date first. It's very important. 20. What 20 is saying? Paid insurance premium in cash. Paid insurance premium in cash. When you are paying, it means cash is going out. That means cash in hand is decreasing. Cash in hand is your asset. Asset is decreasing. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you will mention cash over here. Why you are paying this cash? We are doing entry number 20. Why we are paying cash? Here it has been mentioned that it's insurance premium. If you are paying, that means insurance premium is your expense. Expenses should be mentioned on debit side. So you will name insurance on debit side. Here your entry is completed. Let's see how much amount you are paying in entry number 20. It is 100. So you will be writing 100 on debit side, and same amount you will be writing on your credit side. This way entry number 20 is completed. Let's see what is next for us after 20. It's 25. So you will write 25 in date column. Okay, let's see what 25 is saying. Check received from Salim, endorsed to Kareem. Check received from Salim, endorsed to Kareem. So let's go the entry of Salim. Here it has been written Salim. We have received this check from Salim and we are endorsing this check to someone else. To whom we have endorsed this check? The person name is Kareem. We have endorsed check to Kareem. Please try to understand, when you have received this check, you have debited cash temporarily. Now the same check is going out, not to the bank, but you are endorsing this check to someone else. So what would happen? Your check is going out. Check is your near asset. Asset is going out, mean asset is decreasing. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you were supposed to write check over here as check is going out. As you know that we do not write check in accounting. In place of check we write cash. So for the time being we have considered that check as cash. Cash is going out. Check is just for the reference. It is unnecessary to be written over here, but we have written it for a reference. You may write it or you may delete it, but here you can understand well that it wasn't the cash, it was check which we have received from Salim. So we easily understood that it wasn't the cash, it was check, and same check we are transferring to someone else. So this check is going out. To whom you are paying check? The person name is Kareem. Kareem was the person to whom amount was payable, and now you have paid, no matter in shape of cash or check, you have paid. It means he is no more your account payable after payment. He is no more your liability. Liability has been decreased. Decrease in liability should be mentioned on debit side. So you will mention Kareem on debit side in spite of this that he is your liability. Now we will use the word was. He was your liability because you have paid him. Liability has been decreased. Decrease in liability should be mentioned on debit side. That is why you are mentioning your account payable on debit side. Let's see how much amount, which entry we are. 25. So 25th amount is not mentioned. It is 520. I think you can see it, 520. This was full settlement, and you know that full settlement means how much total amount was payable to Kareem. It was 520. So you will write 520 over here. There is printing, cutting. I think I have taken picture, and due to some issue that 520 is not seen, but please consider it as 520 as I have my book as well. So 520 is the total amount which was payable to Kareem. But how much amount of check is? Since you know that the check is an old check and same check we are providing to Kareem, the amount of check was 480. So what you will do, you will write 480 over here on credit side. The transaction which was provided to us is ended and nothing else has been informed. You can see over there, check received from Slim. What you have done, you have endorsed to Kareem in full settlement bus. That entry has been ended, but still we are not satisfied. Why? Because debit and credit side are not equal. What we would understand from it, when you are paying cash, who will decide it that you can pay less? The person to whom you are paying the cash was Kareem. He is the authority. He will decide you. He is permitting you to pay less. It means you are in comfortable zone. You are receiving some benefit from the Kareem. It is your income. Income should be mentioned on credit side. So you will mention a discount which was given by your creditor. Since you are receiving it, so you can just mention that it's discount received. Discount received is your income. Income should be mentioned on credit side. That is why you have written discount on credit side. But how would we calculate the discount? As usual, we will apply simple accounting principle where debit side is always equal to credit side. On debit side we have 520. On credit side we have only 480. How would we calculate the deficient amount? We will subtract amount of credit from amount of debit. Amount of debit is 520. Now you will subtract amount of credit which is 480, and here you have the deficient amount which is 40 rupees. In this way you have completed your entry number 25. Now let's see what is next for us. It is 29. So you will post 29 over here. All right. Now see what 29 is saying. Check which was issued to Kareem dishonored. Here is Kareem. You have endorsed that check to Kareem. Actually, we haven't issued check to Kareem. We had endorsed, as it is mentioned, check received from Salim is endorsed to Kareem. The actual word was endorsed, not issue. The main theme of this transaction is that check has been dishonored. It's little lengthy to understand, but please make your mind, we will understand it. Let's start it. You have received a check at first step from Salim, and then you have endorsed the same check to whom? Kareem. Where Kareem will go? Kareem will present this check to bank, and from bank he would try to withdraw amount from the bank account of Salim, as you have received this check from Salim. But due to any reason, maybe date was wrong, maybe amount written in words is not matched with the amount written in numbers, we are just assuming due to any reason that check has been dishonored. Now again, please make your mind, you have received this check from Salim, you have endorsed this check to Kareem, and now Kareem had gone to the bank and bank had refused this payment. So what will happen? Back circle will start from bank. Kareem will come to us and will say the check which you have given to us, the check which you have given to us is dishonored. It means the amount which was paid to account payable has not been paid yet. He will again be your account payable. Again, account payable means your liability has been decreased, liability has been increased. Increase in liability should be mentioned on credit side. So you will mention Kareem's name on credit side as he is again your account payable. Understood? Listen again. Okay, what you have done, you have received a check from Salim, endorsed this check to Kareem. Kareem have gone to the bank, and there bank had refused this amount. Bank had refused to pay. What will happen? Kareem will come back to us and will say that the check has been dishonored. It means amount which was paid to Kareem has not been paid yet. Kareem is still your account payable. He is still your liability. Liability should be mentioned on credit side. That is why you have mentioned the name of Kareem on debit side. Okay. What would be the next step? When you will be informed by Kareem that check has been dishonored, where you will go? You will go back to Salim and will say the check which we have received from you is dishonored. It means amount we haven't received, amount is still receivable. So Salim will become again account receivable. That means your asset is increasing. Asset is increasing mean it should be mentioned on debit side. So you will mention Salim's name on debit side as he become your account receivable again. So this way entry number 29 is completed. What amount we will be writing? As you know, that amount of check would be same 480, and same check you have given amount was 480. So you will be writing 480 on debit side, and you are supposed to write same amount on credit side. This way entry number 29 is completed. Now let's see what is next for us, and that is entry number 30. It is saying deposited cash in excess of 490 into the bank. Deposited cash in excess of 490 into the bank. That means amount which is more than 490, put it into your bank account. First we will generalize and then we will understand what does that mean more than 490. Put the date first, it is 30. Actually what you are doing, you are putting some amount into your bank. Just consider it, we will discuss amount later on. When you are depositing some amount into your bank, it means amount present in your bank account would be increase. Increase in bank account mean increase in asset. Increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side, so you will mention your name on debit side. Secondly, how amount is increasing in your bank account? Because you have deposited something, some amount. When you are depositing means your amount is going out, cash in hand is decreasing. Cash in hand is your asset, means asset is decreasing. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you will write cash on credit side. Cash is your asset and asset is decreasing. Now here is the question mark. How much amount you will write? As earlier it was mentioned, you are converting this ordinary transactional detail into usable information. What usable information that would be? You will create a cash book. We have cash on debit side. Cash on debit side means the amount you have received, it would be mentioned on debit side. Cash is coming in. Here cash is credit, which means cash is going out, payment. So what you will do, your cash debit is showing amount received, okay, and cash credit is showing amount which you have paid. Now make a comparison of both things. Debit side is showing amount received, credit side is showing amount paid. If you will subtract both amount, what you will get? When you will subtract cash paid from cash received, you will get what actually we have, cash in hand. How you will get cash in hand? When amount received, you will subtract amount paid from amount, one second, amount paid would be subtracted from amount received. You will get cash actually what is present in your hand. Here you can see what benefit or what usable information we will get. We have cash debit side. Here is your cash debit side. You will put all amounts which you have received and it has been written on debit side. Cash received, cash paid would be written over here. So total of debit side would be amount received, total of credit side would be amount paid. Difference is what amount is still present in your hand, cash in hand. Now here is our answer. He is saying deposited cash in excess of 490. How would we know how much amount is present more than 490? What we will do, we will calculate cash in hand. We'll see how much amount is still in our hand. If it is more than 490, okay, we can write it in English, more than 490 if we have, that amount would be posted, that amount would be deposited into the bank account. I'm just repeating once more. Debit side amount received, credit side amount paid. Debit minus credit means how much amount is still present. We will see how much cash in hand we have and we will compare with 490. If amount of cash in hand is more than 490, that amount which is more than 490 would be deposited in your bank account and you will be generalizing like this. But still we haven't completed cash debit side and cash credit side. Up till then we will mark it as question mark, and as we will complete our cash book where we will come to know the cash in hand, we will make comparison and then we will decide how much amount is needed to be deposited. We will write that amount over here with which our journal entries would be completed. Consider it as part A of this question. We have started from here. You can see that step by step how many entries we have completed. This way all the transactions present in the question 30 was the last entry. Okay, you can see over here we have started from first to last. All entries we have journalized. Consider it part A. Part A has been completed. Take a short break and come back. We will post all these entries present on journal side. We will post these entries into cash book, but in second part we will do it. Take a short break and come back soon. We are meeting again. Thank you very much. Okay.